Good morning, this is Janice Dru-Bennett, and today is Saturday, June 19th, 2021. This is our morning session that joins both career shifters and social lifters, and today's topic is focused on drawing your future and envisioning your destination. I do want to acknowledge that today is June 19th and it's Juneteenth, and for the first time we are a national holiday, and really acknowledge that as we remember our history, that's part of envisioning our future and what we don't want in our future and what we do want to bring into truth and into reality today is freedom and truly I support the abolitionist pledge, and that's what I'm wearing as a shirt today. So that's an acknowledgement of today and celebration, as well as some sadness in remembering what people had to go through and and again I cannot fully understand, but I fully empathize and am truly a supporter. And moving on into our program today, and I do want to hear from others if people want to speak up afterwards, or as we wrap up this session as well, to think about how the past impacts our future and how we envision our future. So I kind of zoomed in as a reminder. We've gone through these first 2 weeks are creating the roadmap. And then the next 2 weeks, as a reminder, we'll jump into expanding your network, and then followed by getting those results. And we've gone through building a social inventory or social audit specifically for the social shifters and social lifters. And for the career shifters and career lifters, it's building that skills inventory and values and mission and goals. In this session, I want to focus on drawing your future and envisioning your destination. And this is something that I have done with a number of coaches and other people who do yoga and meditation have helped me slow down at times. And I know we've talked a bit about burnout, and I do think that part of drawing your future and envisioning your destination is finding time to really look into yourself. And as I mentioned, we've gone through these 3 steps already. So I'm going to jump into this period where in the mornings when I wake up early, I take 7 minutes of silence, or 7 to 8, sometimes 9 or 10. I also work on affirmations and visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. This is the Savers, which is a LinkedIn lesson, or it was a LinkedIn set of processes that people go through, or one particular person, and I can include a link to the Savers, kind of the steps of going through silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. And I do want to take 5 minutes to be completely silent. And I know sometimes it's hard to find that silence, and that's where I'm going to mute myself. I'll start my 5-minute timer so that I will hear when the 5 minutes is up as well, because the countdown clock on the PowerPoint is not going to make a sound, but I'll mute myself. And I would encourage everyone on this call to also take those 5 minutes and just breathe, empty out everything in your head. I'm not going to say a meditation or play music in the background or anything like that. I'm just going to have 5 minutes of silence, whether you spend that time kind of settling in, or I again highly recommend you work on emptying out your mind and just settling for the 5 minutes. And then I'll jump back in, but I will keep my screen on, but I will actually do this with you and close my eyes and just start the timer. Looks like the 5 minutes were up and my alarm did not go off. So I don't know if we went over by a minute or two, or I do think that 5 minutes for some people seems like a very, very long time. And for some people, it may seem like it goes by very quickly. And for me personally, sometimes it does go by more quickly, and I kind of checked and opened my eyes at 4 minutes, and then I didn't, I don't have a great sense of time internally, but I was recently on a session with a burnout coach where she had mentioned that she had done 17,000 hours of meditation. And I think part of the process for envisioning the future is celebrating the present and being in the moment as well. So hopefully that was a time that you could really clear your thoughts and calm yourself and remember to breathe. That's always, sometimes I think because we do it automatically, we stop breathing at times, especially when we're stressed. So instead of jumping right into a training or page with a whole bunch of text and information, I have a few images that I'm pulling up here. And if you want to keep your eyes closed and keep breathing and picture whatever you want to picture in your head that makes you feel at peace and kind of excited about the future, or whatever emotions you want to draw on for yourself, feel free to close your eyes or keep your eyes open and see the pictures I chose. I really do love nature, and I like to use analogies related to plants and trees and animals and sunsets and sunrises. And it's always interesting when I look at a sunset or a sunrise to think about whether it's the beginning of the day or the end of the day, and what there is to look forward to. And as it's time to kind of shut down for the day too, to kind of clear my mind. And this particular image I really like too, because it reminds me of how birds flock together and have a pattern that they use on a regular basis to plan where they're going, and they know exactly where they're going, and they support each other as they migrate depending on the season. This was another picture that as I thought about where birds are going, and the beautiful places, and part of that beauty of where I see the future and the present is the place of love. Tomorrow is actually my 1-year wedding anniversary, and this is also kind of reminiscent of the places where we find peace is often with those we love the most. And so
congratulations on that.
Thank you so much. And then sometimes we're alone, and this also reminds me of my husband, because he'd gone camping and skiing, and when he was younger would often do it himself. And sometimes it's there was a LinkedIn lesson I was just watching about how we need each other, because it's a survival kind of instinct, and having our kind of community and our tribe, or our followers and our people we follow, that helps us be able to achieve where we're going. And at the same time, sometimes being alone is very powerful as well. And some have that goal of reaching the top, and often it does require a team. And at the same time, thinking about how much alone time you want or need, and how much together time. And I do personally really find the most alignment and satisfaction when I'm with other people, and at the same time finding that peace and alignment when I'm with myself, and kind of acknowledging myself is also something that I think is an ongoing process for me. And so this is a good reminder for me as we think about the future, that we are alone when at any given time, but we're also with people, because it could be whether they're there or not there, but what within yourself are you looking for? And then that's again where we're coming back full circle around being with others, and whether you're together and holding each other up, or together and falling, it's all very supportive to me to think about finding others with similar interests, as well as those who may have differing views, and be able to come together and do something together, and achieve a goal together, whether it's again falling from a plane, or rising up a mountain. and again, thinking of the sunset or the sunrise and everything that's happening, and the beauty of the world. This is a picture of the kind of the grass that you can look at, and all of us, I think, are very unique as individuals. And I think celebrating our differences is also something I really encourage. And at the same time, looking at our similarities and how we all come together and may be able to achieve a better future together. And this was the LinkedIn lesson I mentioned that was talking about the collective need and how happiness is actually not necessarily, or according to Dr. Jay Kumar, the research is not the pursuit of pleasure. Happiness is the pursuit of purpose. And that's what he's found has brought happiness to people at work. And here he's saying work is love made visible. And so I posted this because there's what LinkedIn offers, the free 24 hours of training. So it's on my profile under my activity if you wanted to check out his lesson as well. So this is where we're no longer in the beautiful, peaceful scenery, and we're into the training in terms of. And this is not my roadmap. This is a PowerPoint slide that Catalyst Constellations, they have an essentials for Catalysts training that I went through. I think it's an 8-week program, and they also do a retreat. And I've mentioned this before, that sometimes getting away does give us some time to really settle in and figure out exactly what will bring us to the place we're looking to go. At the same time, I think I identify as a catalyst, and this book by Tracy Lovejoy and Shannon Lucas, Move Fast, Break Shit, Burn Out. I've mentioned that before as well. I have a link to it here. And this is, again, something that we want to avoid burning out. And the whole essentials talks about a process of action mapping. And I'm talking about drawing your future and envisioning your future. I've also gone through a program or a couple sessions where I did some journaling to understand myself or like, what is my future self, and really picturing, myself at the end of my life, where I am and what I'm doing. And for this particular action map, I really thought about like my work and my purpose. And I've been following the UN Sustainable Development Goals for years now. And that's what really popped into my head as wanting to support the 17 goals. And I pulled out a few of these, and I think all of them are important. And there may be other kind of aspects that may not be in the 17 goals that I want to pursue in terms of helping us make this world a better place for everyone. I do feel like the fact that we have poverty and starvation is a kind of a baseline, and reducing inequalities and gender equality, all of that it ties together. And so I called out the 3, like I really would like to see us eliminate poverty so that we can all be in a place of feeling that we have the baseline of Maslow's hierarchy met. And then this good health and well-being, I feel, as we're pushing ourselves to do work. And I've come to not really like the term hustlers, although, I mean, I'm not opposed to saying we hustle, but at the same time, I want to think about how we're self-caring, and that's really important. And then partnering with others as well. I think that's a really valuable lesson for me, is that when we work together, we're able to achieve more. And as I talked about, like building our followers and being a follower. I put a lot of text on this particular map, and some of the visualization might not be a straight line. And I had a conversation about a book I read called Straight Line Leadership, how that gets you to your destination faster. And yes, mapping out the direction will help you from getting lost, and at the same time reassessing. Because the other kind of analogy is if you go a straight line and you end up not where you want, that's I think worse than if you were to pause and curve off that straight line, and it takes longer, but gets you to a better place. And so life is not a straight line, and that goes in circles or squiggle. It's a squiggly line leadership path that I drew as well in my kind of background, as you can see. So again, this is my personal action map, and you can create whatever one that works for you. And this is, again, where I had gone out quite a few years, and personally may reset, because this one was in September of 2020, and I may want to do one where I reset at it's June 2021, and where do I see myself December 2021? Where do I see myself June of 2022 or December of 2022? And it might be a very different looking map for each period of time that I create. So again, finding that time, and it does take, you could do it very quickly in 10 minutes, or you can take 30 minutes, 60 minutes to kind of think through this. I mentioned before too, as giving yourself a break. So work sprint and thinking takes a lot of energy. And this is one free app that I have on the Apple Store, and they do have an upgrade, but there's a whole bunch of free ones that I think are helpful. And there's also a sleep one that I try to use to kind of remind myself that it's time to go to sleep at night. And there's lots of meditation apps and YouTube videos. But again, if meditation and mindfulness is not a practice, I'm sure a lot of people out there are encouraging those who are looking to get to the next level to also take the time to slow down so that you're able to sustain that growth. And as a reminder, our career shifters are looking to get from here to there, whether it's kind of that industry shift or promotion. And the social shifters really look to achieve more by growing your circle. And I do feel that as career shifters or lifters, growing our circle, understanding our circle, and this is also part of the Catalyst training. I think I may have mentioned before, the network mapping and figuring out who's around you is also part of that process that we'll start working on next week to reassess what our networks look like and where we want our networks to be. For our working session, after I go through these slides, at my current workplace, we've done some collaborative work using MURAL, which is a kind of a remote way to do brainstorming or mapping, and people can put post-it notes on the board together. Design thinking is often done on MURAL. And then I was doing a little bit of research and also found MIRO, which I haven't fully used before, but we can try it out and see which one we prefer as we can collaborate. And what I would love to do is a collaborative vision board, if you're open to doing a collaborative vision board, and then also giving you the links so that you can do your individual ones as well, or just draw it out on a piece of paper. And I had mentioned or shown some people before. I have kind of it's hard to see with the background, but yeah, so this is one where I kind of pasted things onto a piece of paper to kind of envision the types of things that excite me, and doing that as a project, regularly, maybe something that kind of brings out our creativity and reminds us to kind of pull out the images that kind of help us move in the direction we want to go. And I have links in this PowerPoint that are also in the Google Drive folder that I'll share on the course platform as well. And as a final page, I always put this up just to remind folks to crack your code if you haven't done that already with your bank code, and then also connect with me throughout multiple platforms so that we can stay connected and I can support you on your social as well. And so, as I mentioned, this is the Google Drive folder. These are the templates. So MURAL, I've created a folder, and I realized that they have I signed up for a 30-day trial, and may or may not keep that trial. So if we do work on here, you can download the murals as PDFs. And I really like some of their different templates that you can create your own initial kind of either a process flowchart or whatever. So this may be part of the final 2 weeks as well, thinking about getting results, whether we use MURAL or MIRO to do some of that work. What I did find on MURAL is this vision board, and this is the one that I thought would be a good one to work on together, because you can pull in images and post-it notes. So if I wanted to find an image, you can also search an image, like I'm picturing the beach in August. And so I just put that right here. And what I can do is I'm going to share this link. and post it into chat. So if people want to jump in, give me 1 second. Where's my chat? Okay. So I just posted the invitation to this mural. And I'm going to show you the other pages and then come back here to see if there's anyone else who's joined me. And if you have trouble, just chat me back and I can invite you or put your email address. And it looks like I can also share this by directly putting your email address in there. And I can also hide that. So it's not public once this gets posted. And this is also a session I am thinking may go live onto YouTube, because I feel like this process of envisioning and taking 5 minutes just for silence, all that is useful to remind people to do that. So I may make part of the session public as well. And MIRO is actually doing a retrospective templates challenge. So this is they have a community. This is where, like, when I found MIRO as an alternative to Mural, I really like that they have a community and that you can see people who are posting and what they like, and the MIRO heroes. I mean, this is just, I feel like that's the future of software, is collaboration and getting feedback publicly, or having a community supporting each other, or it's here. I mean, that's how I think really strong companies kind of bring together focus groups and their clients and their prospects. I see that someone has raised their hand. Feel free to unmute yourself or chat and jump in with a question.
Yes, I love these resources. Are these within the folders you've shared, or are these separate links we're going to be looking for?
I will put them as links in the Podia page. And actually, why don't I do that for you, just as a reminder, for people who haven't really gone into this. If you go into Podia and you log in, you may have one course or two courses. And then if you click resume course, if you started it, this is where each week when I create a video, I post it here after I've edited it. And then I add in some resources and links under it. And then I have a private YouTube video too. So if you wanted to share specific videos, I do want to make the content as accessible to people who would find it valuable as possible. And at the same time, it's a program I'm building. And so having it all here is part of the kind of, having a course and having a program that I want to build with multiple cohorts is the process that we're putting together here. And so these are resources, the Google folder I put into here. Like the first session, I made that previewable to anyone. And then some of these are gated because there are maybe some parts of videos that I don't want to show publicly, or may have been just, question and answer afterwards that I want to make available to students, but not necessarily to everyone. So that's what's posted here. And then, on Sunday nights, I do the Clubhouse recording, but I also jump onto Zoom if people want to. I know evening calls, it's often people prefer to keep camera off if you want to lie in bed while you listen, but so I recorded it and tried to put a few key points. And I do have some transcripts from Fireflies that I can also post onto here as well. It's just a process of putting everything together. And once the program is complete, in the first week of August, then that's where I may assess whether I'll keep the pricing, because I do feel like I've offered this to a number of people as just to get feedback right now too. And so I'll assess once it's complete what I may want to re-record for future. I also have on mastermind.com the same program that I've posted, but like part of this whole process for me too is assessing what platform I like the best. So once I have everything recorded on Podia, I may port everything into Mastermind as well, because they have a directory of courses. So it may be more viewable once everything's actually posted, then people will be able to see everything that's available. So there's a couple different, there's lots of different sites to build courses. Someone mentioned Mighty Networks, which I've also used for networking. And I also have the private Facebook groups. So I'm kind of shifting as well in terms of figuring out what's the right platform for me to host everything and what works for the people who are part of the program as well. Yeah, so I will post all of these links into the Draw Your Future. So right now, the Draw Your Future just has, each of these just has a short summary of what each one is. And once there's a video, it gets, the live video that's recorded and edited gets posted here along with the links. So so if I've completed that one, once I upload it, it'll reset, like it'll show like right now I've clicked on each one of those, so it shows that I've finished. And once it's done, if I were to go in and add something to it, then it should it should look like you didn't finish it because I've added stuff to it. And Podia actually also just launched certifications. So I can also kind of, certificate of completion once everyone's gone through the whole program with me, and you can say you've completed the Career Shifters or the Social Lifters program. So MIRO, as I was mentioning before, also does these challenges, which I think is cool because it brings more templates into their community. And so they're turning 1 year, they just celebrated their 1 year anniversary as well. And so right now we're in the middle of their submission period, and they have this retrospective of thinking back. So I think, again, as we look forward, thinking, and this was last week, or the last session, we talked about knowing exactly where we've been and where are we now, and that really may help us think about where we want to go going forward. There's also a career coach I saw, she posted on LinkedIn the image of all these paths that brought us to where we are, like what's the potential like direction that we could go in, and there's all sorts of little trees and paths, and then where you're at now. And then it's the same, like, wherever you are, there's a whole bunch of trees and paths that you could choose and go toward, and determining what your next step is can be influenced by that farther out kind of vision that you are able to kind of bring into yourself. And again, we can do a lot more than we think we can do in 10 years or 20 years or 30 years. So you can see that the different community members are posting examples of the retrospectives they put, and they'll have like a fun kind of award for their retrospective templates. Now they have their corporate templates, so the ones that they've put together with their team that you can pull from with their mind maps or blueprints, diagrams, frameworks, and then they also have meeting and workshop kind of templates. And then there's more templates from the community from MURAL, and this is where the different people have built out different templates, and we can also access those. What I really like about MURAL is I think they are free to access, even after the trial period, which I'm starting now. You can still just have limited access to all of these templates or still be able to use it. I believe MURAL might cut off your access completely, or it'll be frozen unless you start paying. I really like this freemium model that allows you to at least have limited access for kind of forever, is what they're saying, I think. This one I found building a driver tree that I think really aligns with the rocks and the stones and the sand and the water, because the big rocks is what's at the top here. And really, when you're filling a jar, the rocks go in at the bottom. So it can go bottom up or top down. It's the same framework. And then you think about what's your very top vision, and then what are the 3 rocks to get you there, and then what are the supporting stones that are part of those rocks, and then what are the little things that you have to remind yourself to do, the tasks perhaps to check off, and the timelines, and then the regular every like what's the ongoing. So this is and then you can duplicate a template, or and again, I'll share these templates, or you can search for them too directly in here. So but again, in Podia, I'll put up all these links. This is one that I think also helps with kind of the career strategizing. And with MURAL, you zoom in into one section and you work on it together, and you could have like a whole series kind of like the Envision boards, or not Envision boards, but there's that other tool I can't remember off the top of my head, where you zoom into one and then like for presentations, but this is more collaboration, or you can do it just yourself. So this one, as I'm zooming in, let's say you're looking for a UX career and you're trying to strategize and decide what your decisions are, and then decide whether this is a tool for you or not. And then they're saying this usually takes 3 to 5 hours to go through all these steps. These are the people who created this particular template. And it's very similar, I think, some of it to the work that we went through last week in terms of what are your values? And this allows you to kind of put Post-it notes on. And I do think like having something physical. So if you wanted to take a format and you have a big whiteboard or a wall that you want to put stuff on, I think everyone may work differently depending on whether they prefer to be on their computer or kind of moving around and active. And then with the values puzzle after that, like they have this 3 to 5 years. So, thinking about where your values turn into the goals. Again, this is similar to the process I've set up. And then the org and role map. So going into, we may use that to help you with your networking. We also did the same kind of skills process. This one I thought was really helpful too, thinking about where you want to allocate your time and your energy. And they give an example over here where your qualitative research, I want to spend 30% on that. Right now I'm mapping, so I'm spending 40% of my free time on that or whatever. And right now I'm not business thinking or what. So these skills and kind of time and energy kind of boosters may change again at any given time, but it may help you to work through this template to also think about like how are you spending your time and your energy? What are you struggling with? What will help you right now, and kind of being strategic about our time. And what are we kind of, again, what should I be? And one of the things I noticed is like there's a whole bunch of free bundles. I'm part of a lot of entrepreneur mailing lists, and I get these bundles, and I often like to download all the resources and then I never look at them. And this reminds me of me when I was younger. I would go into a library and I would see all these flyers and I would want to take all of them. And then I'd have a pile of resources and I wouldn't look at them. And that is something I think is my shiny object syndrome kind of really flashing. And as I notice myself doing that, perhaps eliminating that behavior or slowing myself down so that if I do take all those paperworks, instead of jumping to the next thing, or if I'm downloading 10 different things, making sure that I also set aside the 2 hours if I really feel like that's something I want to keep, or that I think that learn, and that's where kind of learning versus producing have different levels. And this, working with the group here to produce a community is exciting to me, because I do a lot of learning, and I think that's what I want to spend most of my time and energy creating, and more of my time eliminating and saying no to things that don't align with that roadmap. And a no now doesn't mean not a no later. And that's where being able to know that your no is either a no forever, if you really think it's, I need to tell myself no to this and remind myself I've said no, or I'm telling myself no right now, but I'm open to changing that later. And here's their example of what they put on, like Post-it notes on what they want to eliminate, raise, reduce, or create. And then you mentioned WOOPs, I think, and this was actually on here too. What is your wish? What is your outcome? What is your obstacle? What is your plan? Or I don't remember if it was one of you or someone else I spoke with who talked about WOOPs. I have so many conversations too, which I really enjoy. And then here's like kind of takeaways, and you can add your own takeaways. But again, that's a career strategist board, which a social lifter can also adapt it to your social mission, right? And use the same template. This next template I pulled out here is the minimum viable change toolkit. So as we think about as we go through the process and envision what's beautiful for us, or what we really are attracted toward, what are the things that might need to change to get us to where we want to go. So this is, again, very cerebral and complex, and I don't think we're going to spend our working session kind of going through here, but that this is kind of interesting, where they have the UN Sustainable Development Goals listed here as well, and connecting systemic issues with planetary goals. So this particular board attracted me to it because I'm supporting the goals as well, and thinking about what I can do to bring the different work together. And so creating a board for that might be something I would do. And again, figuring out which, if any, of these tools would be useful for you to think about, the minimum viable, change that we're looking, especially if you're a social lifter, and wanting to kind of make an impact. The theory of change is another good framework to look at if you haven't already. The next one here is a strategy development map. And so it's much more linear. I do tend to be the kind of bubbles and let's kind of go all over the place and kind of bring it together after we visualize something big. But for like linear thinkers, this particular map may be a little bit more structured. And it just goes through kind of the steps of what's the step 1, step 2, and what are the different steps that you would take to get to that end goal. And there's different frameworks you can put into each step, I believe. So that's the strategy development map. And then one other one that I had pulled out here is they call it the career visioning map. Again, this could be the entrepreneurship, the social mission driven visioning map. And it's similar to what I talked about. Visualize what you want your future career to look like. And if you take a moment and kind of think about, okay, in 6 months, in 12 months, where is my work? What am I sitting in the office? Am I still at home? Like all of the questions, like get into detail. What does it smell like? Do I have does it smell like coffee? Or does it, what am I feeling? Does it feel warm? So really putting yourself with all your senses into your career or what work you're doing, or what does that mission look like to you? Are you in another country? Are you, so place yourself and think of the time. Is it early morning? Like really create that tangible, because what we create in our brains often is reality for us. And again, this is one where they're putting an entrepreneurial archetype, a company identity, thinking about the funding strategy. And that's part of the next 2 weeks as we think about bringing in our network is, who do we go to if we need to borrow some money, or who do we, or what can we go to? What institutions are available to us, and who at those institutions might help us with getting the resources, or internally, who are the stakeholders who hold the budgets or who can approve budgets. So there's a whole bunch of, depending on what situation you're in, being able to map out who to go to is going to help with your, turning that vision into reality. So this again, they have visioning cards. They put in some entrepreneur archetypes and strategies here as examples. And you can copy a template and create your own template there. And this is where I would love, I'm going back to here, and it looks like there are people here with me. So let's actually jump into this, and feel free to unmute yourself and talk at this point, because I think we've got 15 minutes left, and I think it'll be fun for us to create a collective vision board. And again, we can, let me see, we can always save this as a PDF for ourselves. So let's start by defining who we are. There's 3 Post-it notes. And what I'm going to do is I'll take the last row, if that's okay. And either of you can pick another row. And I'm going to change my colors. I just picked blue. Hopefully that's not one of your favorite colors. So I'm going to be, unless you, what was that?
Quick question. So I'm trying to click into the actual document, and it keeps taking me to like, hey, do you want a new mural? So I'm just trying to, I guess.
Let's see, anyone?
Okay, I'm there now. It was just it was like a little firewall to try to have me take a tour. Sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go through and change my color, and you can also change yours. And if you zoom in with my mouse to zoom in, I kind of scroll up with my mouse, and that lets me zoom in. I can X this out, and these are again the tabs to navigate. So you can add in icons, like if I wanted to pin something, I can put that here and say that's a pin, or delete it. Just hitting the delete button lets me delete that. So again, this is a very easy to kind of edit and collaborate type of a board. And then so who am I? So I'm just gonna think about, I usually put, I'm a marketer and an entrepreneur, and then remind myself that I'm a mom and a wife. And that's interesting because like I'm thinking artist runner, things I do, does that define me? And I may adjust who I am. And I think we've talked about like humanity and people and better world. I mean, that's a very high level, but I partnerships, right? Working together. What makes you fulfilled? I'm going to move, I don't know if I can move yours. What makes you fulfilled and happy? Nature,
And
animals.
you wanted us to also be filling in the Post-its?
Yeah, so you can pick a column and fill and double click on it, and then you can change the text in the column. So I'm actually, you know, saying we can
Okay, gotcha.
we can go through these steps together. I mean,
Okay,
and then we'll have a collective view of how we define ourselves. We can add in pictures here as we think about our health and our relationships, our families, social, emotional, financial, spiritual, intellectual. Maybe if there's another block we want to add in, we can. This is again fully collaborative. Put what you want on this board, and then you can download it here, export it as a PDF, and then you'll have it. And then if you wanted to create your own, you can, I believe, copy it or yeah, duplicate it and then create your own vision board that is just you. But since we're together, I think it's fun to do it together.
gotcha. So I can just zoom and, okay.
Exactly. So you can zoom in on your own computer, and like right now I'm over here. And again, you can add your own pictures. Like, I mean, this is what someone else had populated this template with, and we can keep it here. Or if something really like you hate cats, or not hate, but if that picture's scary to you, just delete it, right? And then we can add a different one. Or if you don't mind the pictures that are already there, we can leave it. I think we do have New Yorkers in the group. And I've been in New York, so that and then how would I describe my life's work? Right now, I feel like I really love to teach. I mean, so kind of like passing on information, networks, resources. That's kind of connecting the dots, mission and purpose. UN SDGs. And again, I may change that in six months or what, but this has been kind of consistently where I am. So I'm gonna keep going on, and you guys can stay there as you want to fill it out. But again, this is kind of fun to do a group vision board. And maybe let's see. Yeah, I like this picture of kids outdoor running with a parent.
I know, it's fine.
Dancing too. Just feels free. So you can claim different spots on the board for yourself, so that it kind of becomes your space. You want, you know. I think having fun, and feel free to, you know, talk out loud or just add stuff. Yeah, I think kids really bring the joy. Oh, what was that?
It's just really fun. It's really nice to see everything kind of mapped out and have a collaborative process.
Yeah, I think it encourages us, like the vision map I showed you that I pasted was a workshop with Morgan Northway. She's a dance therapist. I've mentioned her in past recordings, and I really appreciate her way of bringing out, you know, what is really deep inside me. And she had a whole workshop where we were creating the collages ourselves. So I have that collage from the project or the workshop she did. Frameworks, interesting. So it looks like you can pull in a whole framework if you wanted to kind of do a grid of shifting, lifting, or whatever. I personally like the images the best, I think, because I think that helps me visualize. Chris Colt is someone I met recently too, who calls himself the Challenge Sherpa, and he is creating movements with other people. And he showed the video where one person starts dancing and they're the lone nut, but then when there's another person that joins and dances with them, they're now,
I
a
love
movement.
that video. Yes.
Yeah.
And he's like getting his groove on by himself. And people are like, what is he doing? And it's just like a very charming, I actually sent that to a client. It's a very charming way for people to remember. It feels awkward, but that might be the fun part of leadership, that we just forget. It's uncomfortable, yet it's like really effective. And when we're aligned with our life purpose, we're going to be dancing by ourselves sometimes.
And I, as I built this out, I'm learning and I'm building, and I'm like, I wouldn't have found MIRO if I hadn't built my own mural for this. And I am really excited to see the community in MIRO. And that's again, part of that, the next phase of networking is finding the places where the people you want to connect with are. And those who are doing the same thing as you will often be those who can share the same resources and help you become stronger and kind of tie the threads together. And doing something by yourself is often, it's the first step. If you're not doing it, nobody's doing it. So I mentioned wanting to write a book at some point, so I'm going to find a book. I kind of like the way that book looks. I'll put that here. And I like this set of thoughts. Space is always something that really inspires me. Thinking about the endless possibilities and how big the universe is. I think I can crop that too, because I want to, I'm just going to crop it to be like that. Oh, and it zoomed in for me, but I can zoom back out. Learn to zoom and move around. I'm learning here too. Okay, it looks like you can just drag that smaller or bigger on the right-hand corner in Miro. And this is MURAL, not MIRO, but I will play around in MIRO as well. I think some of those like the career visioning, that's something probably we want to do ourselves, and harder to do a career map with other people unless we had similar career goals. Wonder what pictures would come up for peace signs.
I'll zoom out so I can see the areas you're talking about. I had kind of zoomed in so I can see my post-it.
Yeah, so it looks like in the lower right-hand corner, there's also a way to zoom in and out, because I've been using my mouse to zoom in and out, but that was the other way. And then as a facilitator, you can summon all collaborators to my view. So if I wanted you all to come to my view, let me try that and see what happens.
Okay, sure.
I double, okay, Get Started Guide. I'm not reading the Get Started Guide right now.
I know it does that. It's very good at prompting.
Oh, and it looks like I can do a reaction. So I'm saying, I love this.
Oh, cute. I see your heart.
Oh yeah, and if I click on my face, I can call summon too. So then you should be seeing, take control. No one can navigate or edit it. And then I can release everyone. Okay, so that's, so as if you're facilitating a mural with other people, I guess this is a tool that you can use with your teams going forward too.
Okay, great. I'm learning the toys.
Oh, I like a picture of the dog. I guess that's my animal thing, and that's kind of what I thought would come up first, like just a very peaceful scenery.
So is your idea that as we start adding pictures, we can add our own little color to that, and we're making a collective for that word?
Well, what I did here is I took this corner and I started thinking family. This is, I think, happy kids and myself dancing and like, enjoying life, and then relationships. I haven't put a picture of like getting married here yet, but like that would fit. So I just took a corner here and I'm putting my own pictures in
Okay.
this corner. So if you wanted to take the corner to the right of the vision board, I don't know if you're seeing my screen still. So if you wanted to take this corner on the left here and start putting in what pictures you envision as it relates to health, like so I like to run and do yoga and hike and just started learning how to ski. So I might want to put a skiing picture there, or others might like to do CrossFit, or you know, whatever is related to health, or just drink smoothies, not just, but like there might be different pictures that come into your head as you see these words. And are there any words missing from here as I think about character, intellectual health? I mean, it's interesting because work is actually not on here. So maybe I will put that as an additional, and again, as a collaborative board, you can edit whatever you want. So because I added that, I'm going to change it to blue. Or not financial. Oh, yeah, I want to say career. So what pictures come to mind when I think of my career? I'm not putting it directly on the kind of beehive. I'm just putting all of my anything that comes to mind right here. You can do Post-it notes, or you can do pictures, or you can do icons, like whatever inspires you. You can put onto the board and, you know, claim your own little territory. I think I could draw a circle around mine, or a squiggly line, like, I don't know, or I can put my name there if I wanted to say, like, let me put a Post-it note right here and say this is mine.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So I'm claiming the Janice section. And then if we were fully collaborating on vision, and I think, you know, if I know you very well, I could also say, hey, Katarzyna, I think this is a good one for you too, and put it there, and you can accept or reject it.
Got it. Now, where do you get a new Post-it from?
Over on the left-hand side,
Mhm.
where there's a little Post-it, it says text right under the back.
Oh my goodness, gotcha. Okay, I see.
And then you can select a color or select a square. That you can also make the Post-it notes bigger or smaller by dragging it. So it's like very
Okay, got it.
easy to kind of change sizes, or
That's very helpful.
picture images is on the left. So yeah. Wedding. These aren't me, but I think I probably have wedding pictures in my drive too. You can, I think, upload important image. But for now, I'm just gonna pick one that looks nice. Okay. And you can send it to back if you want it to kind of overlap or have different orders. We'll bring to front. And I know we're at an hour, but I'm going to keep doing this because it's fun. And then probably close out in, you know, 5-10 minutes. What do I think of when I think of career? No, this was my beach, so it's definitely taking a vacation. Let's see. I'm gonna find a house. I'm in a house, but we talk about having more space in the house, and I think a modern look or a cabin at some point in the future is what. And this may be something you want to do with a loved one too, or
Right.
that's a cool looking house. I'm just gonna put it because it's cool looking. I don't know if that's the house I want to live in, but it's on top of a giant rock above water. Maybe that's a vacation spot. Yeah, but I heard a story. I forget who it was that that put a picture of a house on their vision board, and years later bought a house and didn't even realize it was the exact same house that they had put onto their vision board.
That's great.
Yeah, I guess the house should go into living. I do kind of like these these pictures too, so I'm going to leave them there. There's a lake house that we go to, so.
Oh, I like the sound of like lake houses, mountain houses,
Yeah, well, my
cabin
husband,
retreat.
yeah, Vermont. So maybe when my intent. So we've said when the kids go off to college, we're going to move to Vermont and have a cabin with a lake, and that's when we're going to invite you, and we'll have everyone at our cabin in Vermont.
Yes.
And we can maybe do that again twice a year, because I really want to run these groups twice a year, June and July, and then December, January timeframe. And then it could be like skiing and beach,
Right. Best of both worlds.
Yeah. Speaking of which, let's find some skiing pictures.
Well, this has been amazing.
This is fun for me to visualize where the future is, and others who aren't on here, I will actually take this share link and copy it and share it into Podia. And if other people want to add their post-it notes and their pictures, and you can name yourself if you want to kind of put your stamp with a post-it note next to pictures you add, or whatever you want to do, go in anonymously as a duck. And again, this may expire in 30 days because I don't know if I'll keep Miro or switch to Miro as my primary place of interacting, but I will make sure I download a copy so that we have a group vision board for June of 2021 that we can look back to. If you stay with our group throughout the years, we can look at all the vision boards that we create going forward. Thank you so much for joining, and really look forward to creating our vision together and building our networks together and achieving the results. And I hope to see you at our next session, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions.